Right now, someone in the world just lost everything. Their job, their relationship, their dream, their savings, everything they worked for gone. And here is the terrifying part. That person might be you. Maybe you did not lose everything today, but you know that feeling, that dark, quiet feeling that sits in your chest at night, the one that whispers, "It is too late, you have missed your chance, you are too far behind." That feeling, it is lying to you. Welcome to Fluent Life, the channel where you learn real English through real stories that change your life. Today, we are going to talk about something that nobody talks about honestly. We are going to talk about what really happens when your life falls apart, what the science says, what the most successful people in the world actually did when they hit zero, and most importantly, what you can do, starting tonight, to rebuild something stronger than before. By the end of this video, you will discover 3 things that will completely change how you see your situation. First, the one lie your brain tells you at rock bottom that is keeping you stuck right now. Second, the hidden system that separates people who rebuild their lives from people who stay stuck forever. And third, the most powerful truth about your zero moment, one that the most successful people in history already know, but almost nobody talks about. Watch till the end, because the last truth in this video can change your life. This is not a feel-good video. This is not empty motivation. This is a real story with real science and real steps. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Let us start with a question. What does it really mean to be at zero? For some people, zero means losing a job. For others, it means failing an exam they studied months for, or ending a relationship they thought would last forever, or moving to a new country and feeling completely alone. Zero is different for every person. But zero always feels the same. It feels like standing in an empty room. Everything you built is gone. Everything you planned has disappeared. And you are standing there looking at nothing, thinking, now what? Here is something that most people do not know. Rock bottom has a secret. When you are at zero, your brain does something fascinating. It goes into survival mode. This is a real scientific process. Your brain, the most powerful computer in the universe, starts to protect you. But there is a problem. Protection and progress are not the same thing. Your brain tries to protect you by making you freeze, by making you feel like you cannot move, like moving is dangerous, like trying again will only bring more pain. And so most people stay frozen, not because they are weak, but because their brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. But wait, here is where it gets interesting. There is one person whose story changed how scientists think about rock bottom forever. Her name is J.K. Rowling. In 1994, she was a single mother. She had no job. She was living on government support. Her marriage had ended. She was clinically depressed. By every measure, she was at absolute zero. And she was carrying a handwritten manuscript in a bag, a story about a boy wizard that 12 publishers said no to. Today, her books have sold over 600 million copies. But here is what nobody talks about. It was not her talent that saved her. It was not luck. It was one decision she made at her lowest point, a decision so simple it will surprise you. But first, you need to understand the lie. Because until you see the lie clearly, you cannot move forward. And this lie, almost every person on earth believes it. Now here is where things get really interesting. The lie is this: I have wasted too much time. That thought right there, that single thought is the reason millions of people never rebuild their lives. Not lack of talent, not bad luck, not wrong circumstances. That one thought. And here is why it is so powerful. It feels completely true. You think I am 25 and I have not started, or 30 or 45, and your brain says, see, you are too late, someone else already got there, you missed your window. Your brain is a master storyteller, and it loves this particular story. But here is what science actually says. In 2018, researchers at MIT and Northwestern University studied 2.8 million people. They wanted to find out, when do people actually do their best work? When do they achieve the most? The answer shocked the researchers. The most common age for peak achievement was not 22. It was not 25. The data showed that most people hit their highest level of achievement between ages 35 and 50. Let that settle for a moment. The world told you that success belongs to the young. Social media told you that if you are not a millionaire by 25, you are falling behind. The culture told you hurry, move fast, you are running out of time. But the data says something completely different. It says you have more time than you think. And that is just the beginning. Let us look at the people who rebuilt at zero. Colonel Sanders, the man behind KFC, tried and failed at dozens of businesses. He was 62 years old when he finally built something that worked. 62. Vera Wang did not design her first wedding dress until she was 40. She is now one of the most recognized designers in the world. Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, and the entire Marvel Universe, did not create his first successful superhero until he was 39. Now, here is what I want you to notice. Every single one of these people had a moment of zero, a moment where they looked around and thought, it is over, I missed my chance. And every single one of them was wrong. But here is the part that most people miss. It was not positive thinking that saved them. It was not a motivational speech. It was not a magic morning routine. It was something else entirely. And this is the part I will explain in just a moment, because this is the real reason some people rebuild and others do not. Plot twist. The difference between people who come back and people who stay stuck has almost nothing to do with talent, age, education, or money. It has to do with one hidden system. A system that most people never learn. A system that is invisible until someone shows it to you. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But if you think that is crazy, wait until you hear this. Let me tell you about two people. Person A loses their job. They spend the first week in shock. Then they spend 3 weeks thinking about how unfair it is. They scroll through social media. They compare themselves to old friends who seem to be doing well. They make big plans. I will start over completely. I will learn everything. I will rebuild my entire life. And then they do nothing, because the plan is too big, and starting feels impossible. Person B loses their job. They spend the first week in shock too. They feel the same pain, the same fear. But then they do one small thing, not a big plan, not a total life rebuild, just one small thing. They send one email. Or they spend 30 minutes learning one new skill. Or they write down one clear goal. Just one. 6 months later, person A is still scrolling, still planning, still frozen. Person B, they are already somewhere new, not perfect, not finished, but moving. What is the difference? Scientists call it the Zeigarnik effect, and it is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. Here is how it works. Your brain hates unfinished things. When you start something, even something tiny, your brain gets uncomfortable until it is finished. It keeps reminding you. It keeps pulling you back. This is why you cannot stop thinking about a conversation you had last week. But here is the genius part. You can use this against your frozen state. When you do one small thing, just one, your brain automatically wants to finish what it started. It creates a pull, not a push, not willpower, not discipline, just a natural biological pull toward the next step. This is the one small step method, and it is not a motivational trick, it is brain science. Now here is the contrast that changes everything. Stuck people wait for motivation to start. Rebuilders start to create motivation. Stuck people wait until they feel ready. Rebuilders know they will never feel ready, and they start anyway. Stuck people make plans. Rebuilders make moves. And here is something that experts in behavioral psychology have found, and this is important. The size of the first step does not matter. What matters is that you take it. A famous psychologist named B.J. Fogg spent years studying human behavior at Stanford University. He found that the most powerful way to change your life is not through big dramatic moments. It is through what he calls tiny habits. A tiny habit is something so small, so easy, that your brain cannot say no. Not "I will exercise every day for 1 hour." That is too big. Your brain rejects it. Instead, "I will do 2 push-ups after I brush my teeth." That is it, 2 push-ups. But here is what happens. 2 push-ups becomes 5. 5 becomes 10. 10 becomes a real workout. And suddenly, 3 months later, your body has completely changed. Not because you had incredible willpower, but because you tricked your brain into starting. The same system works for everything. Rebuilding your career. Do not say, "I will completely change my career in 3 months." Say, "Tonight, I will spend 15 minutes reading about one skill I want to learn." Rebuilding your confidence. Do not say, "I will become a completely different person." Say, "Today, I will write down 3 things I am actually good at." Rebuilding your English. Do not say, "I will become fluent in 6 months." Say, "Tomorrow morning I will read 1 paragraph out loud, just 1. Small, simple, unstoppable. But wait, there is a deeper layer to this. Because the 1 small step method is powerful, but there is something underneath it, something even more fundamental, something that explains why, at the deepest level, your 0 moment is not what you think it is. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. Here is the truth. Are you ready? Your 0 moment is not your punishment. It is your preparation. Let me explain this carefully, because I am not saying your pain is not real. I am not saying your loss does not matter. I am not saying everything happens for a reason, that empty phrase people say when they do not know what else to say. I am saying something much more specific. When a forest burns down, it looks like pure destruction. Nothing is left, just black ground, gray ash, empty sky. But scientists who study forests know something that looks like a miracle. After a fire, certain seeds that have been lying dormant in the ground for years finally crack open. The intense heat breaks their shells. The burnt ground becomes the richest soil in the forest, and within weeks, the most explosive growth the forest has ever seen begins. These are called serotinous seeds. They literally need the fire to be released. They cannot grow without the destruction. Now, think about your life. Think about the person you were before your 0 moment, the habits you had, the beliefs you carried, the limits you had accepted without even questioning them. And now think about this. Is it possible, just possible, that some of those old patterns needed to burn? Here is what researchers at Columbia University found when they studied people who had gone through major life disruptions, job loss, relationship endings, major failures. They followed these people for 5 years. And what they discovered changed everything. The people who eventually reported the highest levels of life satisfaction, the happiest, most fulfilled, most successful people in the study, were not the ones who avoided difficulty. They were the ones who had experienced the most significant disruptions. But, and this is critical, only when they eventually chose to see the disruption as a turning point instead of an ending. That one shift, that one mental move. That is the difference between destruction and preparation. Think about every person we talked about in this video. J.K. Rowling did not just survive her 0 moment. She used it. The themes in her books, loneliness, feeling different, finding your power when the world says you have none, those themes came directly from her lowest point. Colonel Sanders did not just survive 62 years of failure. Those 62 years gave him something no young, successful person had: a complete understanding of what does not work. And that knowledge made him unstoppable. Every single dot connects here. The lie your brain told you, it needed to fall apart so you could see the truth. The hidden system of small steps, it only works because your zero moment cleared the ground. And now, right now, the seeds inside you that have been waiting your entire life. They are ready to crack open. But here is the part that should give you chills. You do not have to figure this out alone. You do not have to wait until you feel ready or brave or inspired. Because the system is already inside you. You just have to make one small move tonight. So what does all this mean for you today? This is where it gets practical. Because understanding is not enough. Feeling inspired is not enough. You have felt inspired before, and then life continued and the feeling faded and nothing changed. So let us talk about what you actually do, tonight, not someday, tonight. Here are 3 steps, real, simple, and proven. Step 1, name your zero. This sounds simple, it is not. Most people run from their zero. They distract themselves, they stay busy, they scroll, they avoid. But you cannot rebuild from a place you refuse to look at. Tonight, sit in a quiet place, take a piece of paper, and write down honestly and clearly, this is where I am right now. Not where you want to be, not where you think you should be, where you actually are. Write down what you lost, what you are afraid of, what feels broken. And then this is the important part. Write this sentence at the bottom. This is my starting point, not my ending point. That one act, that one honest moment activates something in your brain. It closes the loop of denial, and it opens the door to movement. This is not journaling. This is not therapy. This is a precise mental tool, and it takes less than 10 minutes. Step 2, choose your one small step. Not your plan, not your 5-year goal, not your vision board. One step for tomorrow morning. Something so small that you almost feel embarrassed by how small it is. If you want to rebuild your career, spend 15 minutes tomorrow reading about one skill. 1. If you want to rebuild your confidence, write down 3 things you are actually good at, not things you wish you were good at, things you already are. If you want to rebuild your English, read 1 paragraph out loud tomorrow morning, just 1 paragraph out loud. That is it. Start there. Because here is what nobody tells you about small steps. They do not stay small. They grow automatically, biologically. Because of the Zeigarnik effect we talked about earlier, your brain will not let them stay small. It will pull you back tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Step 3, change your question. Most people at zero ask the same question. Why did this happen to me? That question has no useful answer. It only leads to more pain, more blame, more stuckness. Rebuilders ask a different question. What can I build from here? Those 5 words change the direction of your thinking completely. They stop looking backwards and start looking forward. They stop searching for blame and start searching for possibilities. And here is the beautiful part. Your brain is a problem-solving machine. When you ask it a question, it goes to work. It does not care if the question is, why did this happen to me? Or, what can I build from here? It will try to answer either one. So choose your question carefully. Because the question you ask determines the life you get. For viewers in the US, UK, Pakistan, Nigeria, Indonesia, the Philippines, wherever you are watching this tonight, these 3 steps work. Because they are not cultural, they are human. We all have a brain that freezes. We all have seeds waiting to crack open. And we all have the power to ask a better question. Before we wrap up, there is one final thing you need to know. Here is the final unexpected truth. Every person you admire, and I mean every single one, has been where you are right now. Not metaphorically, not poetically, literally. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. They told her she was unfit for TV. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job. They said he lacked imagination. Albert Einstein could not speak until he was 4 years old. His teachers said he would never amount to anything. Steve Jobs was removed from the company he founded. These are not inspirational trivia facts. These are data points. Data points that prove one thing with absolute certainty. Your zero moment does not define your ceiling. It defines your foundation. Remember how we started this video. We talked about someone who just lost everything, someone carrying that dark, quiet feeling in their chest, the one that whispers, "It is too late." And now you know something that person, that earlier version of you, did not know. You know that rock bottom has a secret. You know that your brain is lying to you about time. You know the hidden system that separates rebuilders from stuck people. And you know, at the deepest level, that your zero moment is not your punishment. It is your preparation. The seeds inside you are ready. The ground is ready. All that is left is one small move. And if this video opened your eyes to something new, wait until you see what comes next. In our next video, we are going to talk about the one habit that English learners who became truly fluent all had in common. It is not what any teacher ever told you. It is not what any app promises. And once you learn it, your English will never be the same. If this opened your eyes, you will not want to miss that one. Let us recap fast. 1. It is too late is a lie. Science and history both prove it. 2. Small steps beat big plans. Always. Start tonight, not someday. 3. Your zero moment is not your punishment. It is your preparation. Now 3 things before you go. Subscribe to Fluent Life. Real English, real stories every week. Like this video. It takes 1 second and it helps more people find this message. And comment one thing below. What is the first small step you will take tonight? Write it down, make it real. I read every single comment. See you in the next video. Fire.